Hi everyone, my name is Natalie. Today I wanted to do the Invisible Cities announcement for July. So as usual, I will leave the information about Invisible Cities in the description below, but it is simply a reading project where we are reading books from all over the world, and we always select the countries 2 months in advance so you have time to choose what you'll be reading. So the 2 countries we'll be focusing on in July are Ecuador and Cameroon. So as usual, I will share some books that I'm looking at for these 2 countries, and I'm actually really excited about these countries because I found some fantastic sounding books, and these are not even all of the ones that I thought sounded interesting, and I think they're all in translation as well, which is fantastic. So for Ecuador, I have my eye on 3 books. The first one is called This World Does Not Belong to Us by Natalia Garcia Freire, and this one seems like it would be kind of a strange, weird type book, which is definitely my style, and it is something about insects, which was what drew me to it. It says, Lucas was just a child when his father sold him to another farmer as a laborer. Years later, Lucas returns full of resentment and burning for revenge. I love a good revenge story. Lucas, a hardened young man, turns to a world that thrives in dirt and darkness, the world of insects. In raw lyrical prose, Garcia Freire portrays a world brought low by human greed while hinting at glimmers of hope in the unlikeliest places. Sounds so good. So I will be buying this one. It's published by World Editions, and the translation is by Victor Meadowcroft. Then we have a Feminist Press publication. This is Human Sacrifices by Maria Fernanda Ampuero, and it was translated by Frances Riddle, who I recognize. I think she's the translator of, I want to say Claudia Pinheiro's books, but I'm now unsure. Anyway, I definitely have read something by this translator. This is a short story collection which sort of centers around violence, and the description of this as tropical gothic was what really drew me to it. It says, simultaneously terrifying and exquisite, Human Sacrifices is tropical gothic at its finest. Decay and oppression underlie our humid and hostile world where working class women and children are consistently the weakest links in a capitalist economy. Against the backdrop of corrosion and rot, these 12 stories contemplate the nature of exploitation and abuse, illuminating the realities of those society consume for its own pitiless ends. I feel like this could be a new favorite author in the making from the description of the style of it. And then lastly, for Ecuador, we have Jawbone by Monica Ojeda, and this was translated by Sarah Booker. This one I know that the library has, so I might be borrowing it from the library. It's published by Coffee House Press, and it is a book about 2 women's relationship, which sounds like it is kind of an intense portrayal, I feel like. Fernanda and Annalise are so close they are practically sisters, a double image, inseparable. So how does Fernanda end up bound on the floor of a deserted cabin, held hostage by one of her teachers and estranged from Annalise? Interweaving pop culture references and horror concepts drawn from Herman Melville, H.P. Lovecraft, and anonymous creepypastas, Jawbone is an ominous, multivocal novel that explores the terror inherent in the pure potentiality of adolescence and the fine line between desire and fear. Again, it sounds so good, so I might be picking all of these 3 for July. We'll see how it goes, but I am very excited for all of these. And then for Cameroon, I have 2 books again that I'm really excited for and might be picking up copies of both of them. The first one is Days Come and Go, and it is by Hemley Boom, translated by Chanyi Nyamsi, and this one is published by Two Lines Press, whose books I haven't read much of, but I think all of their catalogs looks amazing. And it says, chronicling the beauty and turmoil of a rapidly changing Cameroon, Days Come and Go is a remarkable story of 3 generations of women both within and beyond its borders. Through the voices of Anna, the matriarch living out her final days in Paris, Abby, Anna's thoroughly European daughter, at least in her mother's eyes, and Tina, a teenager who comes under the sway of militant terrorist faction, Boom's epic is generous and all-seeing, brilliantly considering the many issues that dominate her characters' lives: love and politics, tradition and modernity. Days Come and Go is a page-turner by way of Frantz Fanon and V.S. Naipaul. I love a good generational story, so this again sounds fantastic. And lastly, we have The Blunder by Mutlun and translated by Amy B. Reed. From a bold voice in African fiction comes a satirical and unputdownable reimagining of an overlooked episode in Cameroon's colonial past. Cameroon, 1929. As colonial powers fight for influence in Africa, French military surgeon Eugene Jamot is dispatched to Cameroon to lead the fight against sleeping sickness there. But despite his humanitarian intentions, the worst comes to pass. 700 local villagers are left blind as a result of medical malpractice by a doctor under Jamot's watch. Damienne Bourdin, a young white woman, ventures to Cameroon to assist in a treatment effort. Reeling from the loss of her child, she's desperate to redeem herself and save her reputation. But the tides of rebellion are churning in Cameroon, and soon after Damien's arrival, she is enlisted in a wild plot to staunch the damage caused by the Blunder and forestall tribal warfare. Together with Ndongo and a pygmy guide, she must cross the country on foot in search of Edoa, a Cameroonian princess and nurse who has gone missing since the medical blunder was discovered. As Damien races through the Cameroonian forest on a farcical adventure that unsettles her sense of France's civilizing mission, she begins to question her initial sense of who needs saving and who would save the day. And I think I read a sample of this, and that was what really drew me to it. It sounded like it would be kind of a romp of a story, as well as being interesting historical context for me as well. So those are the books I'm looking at for July for Ecuador and Cameroon for Invisible Cities reading. I would love to know, as always, if you have any books that you are thinking of for these two countries, if you've read anything from these two countries, or if you have any movie recommendations as well. I'm always trying to interweave my movie watching with the Invisible Cities project. So that was all I wanted to say today. Hope you're doing well and you're taking care of yourselves, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.